we are certainly more alike than we would like to admit, and we both care and passionate about a lot of the same things.
He was a left-hander, and he had a great technique. I mean, his swing was beautiful, and he would hit it miles, and he taught me a lot.
I think they're all very special to me. You know, you can't really rank them, but I think it's obvious that that one stands out simply.
He was nuts. That's what golf legends thought when a brash young Phil Mickelson hit a full-swing flop shot over a spectator's head at a clinic in Orlando. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and Lee Trevino stood there, shocked, warning him he'd get sued. But Phil didn't back down. Instead, he gave Jack Freaking Nicklaus a full-blown lecture on why he could pull it off every single time. That moment of pure audacity defined everything Phil Mickelson would become. But here's the twist. Those legends didn't just witness his recklessness. They shaped him. Every encounter, every rivalry, every brutal loss forged the competitor who would eventually become the oldest major champion in history. This is the story of how golf's greatest legends reacted the first time they faced Phil Mickelson, and how those moments created a legacy that would span 3 decades. Phil Mickelson turned professional in 1992, stepping into a world still dominated by the giants who had built the sport. Jack Nicklaus, the Golden Bear himself, was winding down a career that had redefined excellence. Arnold Palmer, the king, was in his final competitive years. These weren't just golfers, they were institutions, and Phil was about to challenge everything they stood for. The clinic at Grand Cypress became legendary, not because Phil executed a difficult shot, but because of what happened afterward. Nicklaus, Palmer, and Trevino pulled him aside with a clear message. Don't ever do that again. You're going to get yourself sued. You're going to get the tour sued. They weren't being mean, they were protecting him, protecting the game, teaching him the conservative wisdom that had served them for decades. But Phil rejected it completely. His response revealed everything about his competitive identity. Guys, you don't understand. There's no way I can't pull it off. Then he explained the mechanics in detail, breaking down exactly why the shot was safe in his hands. He wasn't being arrogant, he was being honest. This was who he was, a player who believed in the amazing shot over the right shot. Nicklaus had built his legendary career on percentage golf, on making the safe play, on grinding out victories through consistency and discipline. Phil was built differently. He wanted spectacle, he wanted risk, he wanted to attempt things others wouldn't dare. That fundamental difference established in his earliest days as a professional would define his entire career. It would lead to breathtaking victories and crushing defeats. It would cost him at Winged Foot in 2006 when he made a disastrous decision on the final hole of the US Open. But it would also give him moments of pure magic that crowds would never forget. The clash of philosophies between Nicklaus and Mickelson represented more than just different playing styles. It symbolized a generational shift in how golf could be played at the highest level. Nicklaus represented the old guard, the players who built dominant careers on minimizing mistakes and letting opponents beat themselves. Phil represented a new breed of competitor willing to manufacture birdies through aggressive play, even if it meant occasionally courting disaster. The tension in that moment at Grand Cypress wasn't just about one risky shot. It was about whether golf's future would embrace controlled excellence or daring brilliance. Phil chose brilliance every time, and the legends watching him that day recognized they were witnessing something they couldn't quite control or predict. What made the encounter even more significant was the presence of multiple legends simultaneously. This wasn't just Nicklaus offering advice. Palmer and Trevino stood there too, 3 of the game's most accomplished and respected figures presenting a unified message. The weight of their combined experience, their collective major championships, their decades of wisdom, all focused on this young professional who had just turned pro. Any reasonable player would have deferred to that authority. Phil didn't defer. He educated them instead. That confidence, bordering on defiance, signaled that Phil Mickelson would never be molded by conventional wisdom. He would forge his own path, consequences and all. The irony is that Phil's audacious approach, the very thing that concerned the legends, became his greatest asset and his most significant liability. It gave him the courage to attempt shots others wouldn't dream of trying, creating highlight reel moments that defined his popularity. But it also led to heartbreaking losses where a more conservative choice might have secured victory. The legends understood this duality immediately. They saw the talent, they saw the risk. They tried to redirect him toward safety. Phil heard them, acknowledged them, and chose his own way forward anyway. Arnold Palmer taught Phil something entirely different, but equally vital. Palmer pulled him aside early and gave him advice that would shape his public persona forever. Never walk past anyone. No one likes to feel like they're invisible and don't matter. Phil absorbed that lesson completely. He became famous for his accessibility, his smile, his willingness to sign every autograph and engage with every fan. The lefty persona wasn't accidental. It was intentional, modeled directly on Palmer's charismatic approach to the game. This cultivation of public goodwill became a strategic asset. While his greatest rival, Tiger Woods, would become known for stone-cold, ultra-focused intensity, Phil embraced warmth and openness. He became the fan favorite, the people's champion, the guy everyone wanted to root for. Palmer taught him that being a global sports icon required more than technical skill. It required connection, humanity, and presence. That lesson would sustain Phil through competitive struggles and later controversies, providing a foundation of public support that never wavered. The parallels between Palmer and Mickelson run deeper than public relations. Both men were masters of drama and charisma. Both pursued the elusive career Grand Slam and fell short, never capturing the U.S. Open. Their final appearances in that tournament both came at Oakmont, a fitting bookend to careers defined by brilliance and heartbreak. Palmer represented an era of golf where personality mattered as much as performance, and Phil carried that torch into the modern age. When Phil turned professional in 1992, Nick Faldo was already established as one of the game's elite. Faldo held 6 major championships and had spent 97 weeks as the world #1. He represented everything Phil needed to surpass: consistent excellence, global dominance, and major championship pedigree. Throughout the 1990s, Phil competed regularly against Faldo, battling to prove he belonged among the world's best. Phil found early success, winning 10 PGA Tour titles in his first 5 professional years, but breaking through the established hierarchy proved difficult. Even as Phil accumulated victories, he remained locked out of the world #1 position. Faldo, along with players like Vijay Singh and Ernie Els, stood between him and that ultimate recognition. If you're wondering which legendary encounter shaped Phil the most, drop a comment below. And if you want more deep dives into golf's greatest rivalries, hit that subscribe button right now. The statistical comparison between Faldo and Mickelson reveals an interesting dynamic. Both won 6 major championships, tying their ultimate achievements. But Phil recorded 29 major top 5 finishes compared to Faldo's 19, demonstrating exceptional sustained competence over a longer period. Phil was consistently in contention at the highest level, yet he never achieved the world #1 ranking. That absence speaks to how difficult it was to convert consistent high-level play into sustained singular dominance during an era defined by multiple elite competitors. Phil was brilliant, he was consistent, but the competition was relentless. Years later, Faldo offered commentary that validated the singular nature of Phil's career. He praised the span of Phil's achievements, highlighting 2 astonishing bookends. All you want to do as a kid is compete, and he won as an amateur at 20. And then, at 50, Faldo called winning a major at age 50 one of the greatest achievements in our game. That wasn't casual praise, that was one 6-time major champion, recognizing the extraordinary nature of another champion's longevity. Phil's 2021 PGA Championship victory wasn't luck. It required a 3-year physical project to increase club speed and the mental strength to take on the youngsters. Faldo understood what that took. His evaluation elevated durability and continuous commitment to elite competition as the defining metric of Phil's greatness, a characteristic rivaling his accomplishments during his prime years. The 2004 Masters provided Phil Mickelson with the psychological breakthrough he desperately needed. By that point, he had failed to win a major in 46 attempts despite accumulating 6 career top 10 finishes at Augusta National alone. The label followed him everywhere. Best player without a major. That burden grew heavier every year. Ernie Els, the game's gentle giant, was firmly established as one of the big 3 of the pre-Tiger era. He had won his first major at the 1994 U.S. Open, and by 2004 was actively pursuing the career Grand Slam. He needed only the PGA Championship and the Masters. Phil and Ernie shared competitive history, including an early head-to-head matchup in 1995, but nothing compared to what would unfold on the final round at Augusta in 2004. Els delivered a spectacular performance, rushing to the lead with a dazzling final round 67 that included 2 eagles in a span of 6 holes. He finished with a commanding score of 8 under par and waited in the clubhouse, knowing he had delivered near-perfect golf under championship pressure. Most players would have crumbled watching that performance. Phil didn't. He responded with a memorable back 9 charge, tying Els with a birdie on the 16th hole. Everything came down to the 72nd hole, where Phil faced an 18-foot birdie putt. The most important putt of his career, he holed it. 9 under par, 1 stroke better than Els. Only the 4th time in Masters history the tournament had been won with a final hole birdie putt. The importance of that victory cannot be overstated. Phil didn't win because his opponent collapsed. He conquered a world-class player who had delivered a near-flawless performance. Els was left stunned, struggling to explain his emotions. Phil deserved this one. He won this. He didn't lose it like some others. Full credit to him. That gracious acknowledgement from Els confirmed what had happened. Phil had executed his aggressive, high-risk style in the most crucial professional environment and emerged victorious. That triumph provided the psychological foundation to compete directly for major championships for the next 2 decades. It shifted him from perennial runner-up to multi-major winner. Everything changed that day at Augusta, but the ultimate standard against which Phil Mickelson would be measured wasn't Nicklaus, Palmer, Faldo, or Els. It was Tiger Woods. The rivalry between Tiger and Phil became the central competitive narrative of modern golf, defining excellence for 2 decades. Their competitive history began quickly after Tiger turned professional. The first time they played together professionally was during the 1997 NEC World Series of Golf, where both recorded a score of 72. One of their first major championship moments came when they were paired together in the final round of the 1997 PGA Championship. The rivalry would dominate the sport, evolving from professional tension to focused competition and occasional admiration. The statistics reveal clear competitive dominance by Woods. Tiger won 82 PGA Tour events compared to Phil's 45. Tiger captured 15 major championships compared to Phil's 6. Tiger held an 18 to 15 to 4 edge in their all-time head-to-head meetings. Most tellingly, Tiger spent 682 weeks as the world number 1, a rank Phil never achieved despite his sustained brilliance. The numbers don't lie. Tiger was the superior champion. But here's where the story gets interesting. Phil's career scoring average was 70.07 compared to Tiger's 70.69. Phil actually scored better on average than Tiger. That statistical paradox reveals everything about their distinct competitive strategies. Phil's better scoring average suggests immense, consistent, underlying talent across all competitive situations. But Tiger's ability to translate a slightly higher scoring average into vastly superior victory totals indicates an exceptional capacity for maximizing outcomes and converting high finishes into outright wins, especially in major championships. Analyst Brandel Chambly captured the difference perfectly. The difference is that Phil wants to hit an amazing shot, but all Tiger wants to do is hit the right shot. Tiger's lower scoring standard but higher conversion rate underscores his calculated approach. Phil's higher scoring precision but lower conversion rate confirms his innate tendency toward brilliance at the expense of conservatism. Phil had the talent to outscore Tiger on average, but Tiger had the discipline to win when it mattered most. The cultural impact of their rivalry extended beyond statistics. The two-decade feud generated massive public interest through the dramatic juxtaposition of their personalities. Phil was framed as the charismatic, fan-friendly opposite to Tiger's stone-cold, ultra-focused demeanor. That narrative fueled golf's expansion during the early 21st century, bringing new audiences to the sport. Phil's status as a Hall of Famer is intrinsically defined by competing during the most dominant period in modern golf history. By consistently performing at an elite level, accumulating 45 wins and 6 majors, Phil demonstrated that he was the most successful competitive force capable of challenging Tiger's supremacy. Tiger's relentless standard forced Phil to continually push the competitive envelope, which ultimately contributed to his longevity and the physical commitment necessary to achieve unprecedented late-career major success at age 50. Phil's greatness is certified by his ability to thrive and endure in an environment dominated by a singular athletic outlier. He never beat Tiger in total victories or majors. He never reached world number 1, but he remained relevant, competitive, and dangerous for 3 decades while facing the greatest golfer of his generation. That's not a footnote to his legacy. That's the foundation of it. Phil Mickelson's career is a tapestry woven from interactions with golf's most significant figures. His 6 major titles and 45 PGA Tour victories were earned not in isolation, but as a product of navigating a multi-generational competitive environment. From Arnold Palmer, he inherited the vital mantle of fan connection and public charisma, securing the goodwill that would define his public identity. From Jack Nicklaus, he defined his audacious, aggressive style by rejecting the conservative percentage golf advised by the Golden Bear, establishing his signature risk-taking profile. From Nick Faldo, he measured his early ambition against the competitive consistency of the global elite, demonstrating superior sustained longevity through exceptional high finishes even while failing to achieve world number 1. From Ernie Els, he achieved his essential psychological breakthrough by conquering a world-class peer who delivered near-perfect golf in the final round of the 2004 Masters. From Tiger Woods, his entire body of work is validated by the sheer force of competitive pressure exerted by the greatest champion of his era. Phil Mickelson occupies a singular and complex position in golf history, a technical savant and competitive gambler who operated outside traditional conventions of calculated championship play. His professional career stands as a testament to exceptional competitive durability and technical ambition. His victory as the oldest major champion at age 50 serves as the ultimate vindication of his commitment to the game. He pursued the amazing shot, endured competitive setbacks, and achieved singular dramatic triumphs. His enduring popularity and Hall of Fame credentials were intentionally constructed through mentorship, defined in rivalry, and solidified by an unparalleled commitment to remaining relevant across competitive epochs. The legends didn't just watch Phil Mickelson enter the game, they shaped him, challenged him, and ultimately validated him. Every encounter left a mark, every rivalry pushed him further, and when it was all over, Phil had carved out a legacy that belonged to him alone. Which legendary moment do you think defined Phil's career most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more golf history deep dives.